Aloha and welcome. Today we are going to get into some very big reveals. What I'd like to first mention is all of this information is channeled information, and it's never been mentioned before. This is brand new information coming out into the new world, into new earth as new teachings in order to help get the collective consciousness up to the 5th level consciousness. So here we go. I want to start first with a few reveals, and then I'll go more into detail, but it's going to be a little bit backwards. I would like to note that right now I am just doing it old school. I'm going to write it on here so it will reflect like a mirror, no pun intended. However, I would love some comments and some feedback from people that are more familiar with the technology. There's whiteboards and different ways that I could make it a little bit more easier, but where we can still be on the same page and have the whole communication. Anyways, I wanted to mention that that's definitely not my strong suit, and I am happy to take any form of recommendations from anybody. But here we go. First, I want to mention we are going into a whole new shift. This is a whole new way of looking at life, a whole new way of living life. And what that needs to really be pointed out is, without taking the word war as we have in the past, but what we are moving into is World War III. Let me explain. Okay. World War. Now, through breaking down, this is how I discover a lot of things. It's called geometry. And you break down and find the letter, the number that is associated with the letter. Okay? So it's basically, I have it written down, 5, 6, 9, 3, 4, 5, 1, 9. Okay? So what we want to do is we add that up. That equals 27. We're already at 27 in world, which equals 9. And this equals 6. So we take the 27 plus 6 equals the 15 equals 6. That's how we break down. Okay, you always want to break it down to your single digit. It's math vortex along with geometry. So we have the 6. What we can see from the word World War is that we have the 9 in world. It breaks down to the 6. 3. 3. What is 3? 3 is outside of duality. Now we are talking about, we are moving outside of dualism. That is why we are moving into a spiritual war, because everyone is living a dualistic life. And we are about to really break that open and explain and show what we're moving into, what the earth shift really is, what we are being called to do. We are moving into non-duality, which is 3. Take the 6 plus 3, 9. Number 9, guys, number 9 is God. That is the number of creation. I'm going to explain. Here we go. So, keep in count. Every time you see number 9, what I am saying, what key words do I keep saying? The word reveal, when you add it up, equals 27, equals 9. Okay? This is where we're going. The word non-duality, there we go, equals 9. Okay, when you add it up, it equals 9 as well. Are we seeing where the 9s are connecting? Now, through geometry, what you do is you see what words, if they have the same number that breaks down, because these are the hidden patterns, these are the hidden clues throughout life. If they add up, it means that they are connected or of the same. The same as when I did the blueprint and I showed you that heaven and head equal number 9, meaning heaven is in your head. You have to reach your crown frequency to get to heaven. So this is part of the reveal of non-duality, why we are going into World War III, which is a spiritual war. Let's go ahead and go further. There is the common understanding of the yin-yang symbol. Yes? Yin-yang is duality. This is where we live right now. This is cause and effect, where we think that there is a cause when ultimately all we're seeing is the effect. And it's really important to understand that in order to shift into higher levels of consciousness, because you can only shift out of that fourth level into the fifth level when you understand non-duality. It is how it plays out. So, to make the yin-yang non-duality, this is a big part of my teaching that I will connect. You have to understand that this black dot here is a little bit of, the basic of the yin-yang, right? So there's a little bit of the black and the white and a little bit of the white and the black, saying that there's a little in each. It's not just light and dark. It's not verses. However, how we really expand that is by taking knowing that this is the 3, this is the 6, and then we take this S curve, right? That was duality. Now we add the S curve. By adding the S curve, which is number 9, that takes us from duality into non-duality. What that really means is that number 9 is governing the light and the dark sides. Light and dark, back into dualism. Good versus bad, right versus wrong. Yes. So number 9, God governs both sides. So understand, when we start talking about there is no victims in the world, there's no evil in the world, this is where I'm going to get into now. I went into a video, but I will quickly refresh your memory, and we will go into it a little bit more in detail later. So if this doesn't make sense, just follow along. It's okay. We'll connect even more. But God plays both sides. Yes. He is this and this. He's the angel on this shoulder, and he's the demon on this shoulder. Because ultimately, when we get into non-duality, we are not claiming the action. Every single living thing in this world is moving into a process, and each process is being pulled by the Holy Spirit, who is the one doing the action. And I have an allegory that I posted referring to that, to give it a little bit more of an explanation, as that we are just a self-driving car and we don't even realize it, and we're turning the wheel and we're jerking it and stuff, when really it wants to just go and it's leading us. But it's all the mind claiming separation, claiming thought, and we'll go more into that. But yes, God is playing both sides. So when we look at it in that way, and we go back and we break it down again, what does this mean? This usually stems fear of death, or it usually stems some connection to evil or the devil. However, what really needs to be pointed out is that that equals 18, which equals 9. God. Okay? Flip it around, 999, which is definitely, that is my call to God right there, those number patterns. Actually, add one more 9. But yes, all the 9s, those are very strong indications. But that also equals 27, which equals 9. So, are we seeing that the 666 flipped over is 999? Are we not seeing that yet? So let me add something else just to make it more convincing. The word spirit has within the IRI, breaking it down, it has 999 in it. Spirit is what first appeared, and then it moved around the circle, creating the flower of life, expanding consciousness. And I go into that in a different video, but just remember spirit, the first exact thing. Spirit also equals number 1, new beginnings, the beginning, in the beginning, number 1, right there. but the 9 points right here. God is playing both sides. He is this and he is that, and he is equal on both. And it is a matter of becoming a clear mirror. This is what we're doing here, guys. We are in Earth simulation. We are in a simulation. It is school. Every single instance, every single moment of your life is lined up exactly like a video game. And I have an allegory, and I'll go into that another time. But just understand, every single moment is lined up. No accidents, no coincidences, nothing. Nothing like that. Everything is happening exactly as it needs to. If you're watching this, there is a reason that you were called into watching it. And you'll see that you are being guided by your higher self a lot of the times. That is God. Yes, that is what I refer to when I say that you are in a flow. God is the action. That's what I'm referring to. But why we really need to open that up, why we have to understand what we're moving into, this world shift, is to get out of dualism. That is the grand barrier to reaching the 5th level consciousness. And it's right there on the map of consciousness, where a lot of people are a little bit confused about how the map of consciousness works. And I go into that in another video, but I will quickly remind you that it is a building up system. All the ones on the lower bottom right there are the same exact, they're on their journey. Everyone is hanging on the tree. I go into a tree. Imagine a collective tree. It is a tree that has all the chakras, and then everybody is a piece of fruit hanging on that tree. And what we're doing is we're ripening over many lifetimes. And that is the old version, is that we ripen over many, 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 many lifetimes. But what is being introduced into this new earth for the 3D to shift into 5D is a sped up version of purification. Because we're here to purify, but it's a sped up version. Now we have the option of actually having a sped up version. And this is what I'm supposed to bring out into the world. You do not have to go into a cave and meditate for 20 years to realize you are not the one doing the action. But yet you just need to become so aware of all the stories and all the things and how it's all piecing together and how it plays out. And that is the information that I will be bringing out to help piece those pieces together. They're really just pieces of puzzles, and we just start putting them together. So now that we already have indicated that everyone is a piece of fruit hanging on that tree, you have no idea how long they've been ripening. So it's the lower levels of consciousness that are right there at that level of shame. It's where we have come into the human incarnation from the animal realm, and we carry a lot of that same animal characteristics, which is survival mode, fight or fight. And we are just running and going rampant. And that is what we see and what we label as evil in the world. But that is only, and this is where I want to connect, where it really gets deep, it's only residue of past lives. Yes, here we go. No, anything that you hold a strong opinion on or a judgment on is basically a mirrored version of something from your past life, and it's reflecting and it's triggering you in order for you to see something that you're not owning within yourself. Because ultimately, the only reason why we're here is to become so clear, to clean our mirror so clear that the only thing reflecting back is truth. And that's it. No projections, no more reflections, no more of this, yet we are right there in that. And that is what we're doing. We're in the process of clearing that mirror by understanding. And even if you can't put into necessarily the words that you understand, but you leave space for that inner knowing, that inner, oh wow, number 9, it connects. That's interesting. Allow that feeling. Don't do the whole thinking, but it could be anything. That is the logic and reasoning on the map of consciousness, which is the huge barrier to getting into 5th level, because you have to bypass it many times as you are on the path and you start getting tested by the Creator and you understand you're being tested. You've been tested since the day you were born, but now we're coming out with the understanding. I'm going to put together a way to understand how we're playing this game to the point where you start participating in playing the game, and it really rapidly increases the levels of your consciousness to the point where you can come back and actually explain it and not just be experiencing it like I am right now. So the game is clearing our mirror, clearing our karma. Karma. It's a word that has been misused a lot. Oh, you did this to me yesterday. It happened to you today. That's just karma. Yes, it is to a degree, but that's not how it's truly working in the universe. Everything is a perfect balancing system. And whatever is playing out that is something that is undesirable in this lifetime is a balance of whatever happened from the past. Everything is not personal. It is just the level of where your buoyancy is in the sea of consciousness. And that's the best way to look at the map of consciousness, is just to realize that you're floating right here. This is where you're floating, where your soul's floating, because it's over multiple lifetimes. But as I mentioned, we are getting into the sped up version, into the understanding of the clearing of the mirror. Once that mirror is clear and the only thing reflecting back is unconditional love, fifth level consciousness, Christ consciousness, right there. Only works, though, after you clear your karma. You cannot go anywhere when you have karma in this incarnation. You will come back, samsara, do it all over again, and pick up where you left off. So let's take this information now and plant seeds and start putting intention while we have this understanding, while we're in this incarnation, before it gets all wiped out and you get back into a state of amnesia, being rebirthed again into a different womb and going through and trying to relearn what you didn't learn this time. Basically, point blank. Radical honesty. Here we go. What is being created is to understand that karma is action, okay? And it is proven by breaking it down yet again. Karma equals 8. Action equals 8. What else is 8? 2024. We are entering the year 8. Year 8. 8 is also referring to, it's already linked to karma. So we knew just from before, if you knew 2024 is year 8, that it's the year of karma. So how does karma and action connect? How I did the sped up version. This is me figuring out how I was doing it with the guidance of Ascended Masters in order to come back and be able to show you the sped up version. This is exactly how I did it. Understanding that there is a call to action, and it's through the synchronicities, and that will be a different post. But understand there is a call to action that needs to be performed in this incarnation. Very weird, bizarre things, not anything that you have to really overthink about or anything like that. That becomes the trap, again, of the mind. Just know that a lot of things are appearing, things that trigger you, things that bother you, anything that you can identify outside that needs to change is related to your karma. Once you understand that, it takes being so personal a little bit away. And then you just have to start breaking that off, and you just have to get to that point where you can really let it go. Understand every single thing in our life is a story, and we just want to let go of the stories. First, we identify them, we own them, we understand them, we see them, and then we let them go. Because by holding on to them, you stay in the fourth level of going around in a circle, and you can identify those people. It is those long-winded comments that are going in circles because their mind is going in circles trying to figure it out. So here is the answer. We are moving into year 8. Year 8. Why am I saying that this is the sped up version? And now, this is the only chance that we have ever had to ever do a sped up version of our purification. It happens within 3. As I mentioned, we're going into a spiritual war, War 3. 3, outside of duality. Now, we're going to start connecting what that really means. Let's go ahead and put the word past lives. this was very, I mean, I was completely taken off guard when this was revealed to me. And it was just through my basic letting myself flow and looking at different things and keywords that are coming up in my flow videos and words that I don't use that much before. Those are keywords, no accidents. These are words. So I went ahead and broke it down. And what I discovered was past equals 11. Lives equals 22. 11 plus 22 equals 33. Anyone that knows numerology knows that these are master numbers. Master numbers. The only master numbers. It works out like this. Okay? So, as I said, we're going into 3. That means this is only possible when you're in your third lifetime. Why 3? Why does it need to be your third lifetime? Because one lifetime, let's just do the 11 here. One lifetime is labeled as your evil lifetime. As I mentioned on the map of consciousness, everybody is on that tree ripening, and we don't know how long they've been ripening, and it is just the actions that need to be performed in that level. And we all have done it. So you'll see even more about that clearing of the mirror is that whoever you're judging, anything that you're judging as evil is just a version of yourself that you're judging and you're unidentified with. And so this is where it's really important to identify these are all past lives residue, and this is the only way that we move into the sped up version where you don't have to have multiple incarnations, like 10, 20, 100 incarnations to really be able to start integrating these light and dark aspects. Carl Jung touched base on the shadows and shadow work, and it's very well known now. People have already developed an understanding. Yes, I'm doing my internal work. I'm going through the awakening. If I'm doing my shadow work, that is also a very strong indication you're on your third lifetime. That means that you are willingly integrating your light and your dark, because that is what the shadow is. It is the dark aspects of yourself that you don't accept. Going deeper with the new reveal, it is linked from your past lives. This is the part that Carl Jung could not connect because it wasn't supposed to connect until now, what I'm supposed to bring out. It happens within 3 lifetimes. You have one evil one, again, map of consciousness, not evil. You have one good one. We can call it good. We're doing this very lightly because that's duality. We're not calling things good and evil, yet it just is. These are lifetimes. And the good is balancing from whatever was playing out from the bad. And you'll see that a lot of that really does connect, and a lot of people are just people that you've karmically have been related with in the past lives. I know a lot of people now that I knew in the past, and it only connected when I was able to get into the level of revealing my past lives. And that only happens in a very natural way when it's aligned and you've hit that point. So, when we get to 33, which the 11, 22, and 33 also have meaning, but we're not going to go into that just yet. When you get to the 33, that is your third lifetime. This is when you have that chance to choose that you're going to take that straight up incline. My triangle, this is radical non-duality. You are going straight up that triangle. We're going straight up with radical honesty. And as I mentioned, it doesn't mean that you have to sit there and agree, but yet you just need to leave space. Leave space for it to play out in your life, for it to appear, for all this knowledge to start appearing for you. And within your own awareness, where you start piecing those things together if you're properly aligned to do so. It is within your third that you have that option. But you have to do the radical non-duality, which is this, going straight up. Now, for the ones that are sightseeing and they're enjoying the illusion, and that's fine because we need that balance. Everybody is on that tree ripening, but this is for the ones that are ready to be done with it, that are ready to experience heaven on earth right now. Understand, it will take a lot of work. This is a long, narrow path, but it is sped up. And when I say it's sped up, what I'm referring to is that you will be more amplified than normal. If you choose this path, there will be more moments of being amplified where you are called to own that understanding right then and there. And then the test will appear one on top of the other. This is that whole push into 5D. That's the universe's way of getting us to actually heal in this Earth simulation, is to trigger us to the point where we start to see that we have a cycle. And then within that trigger, and it continues to make us suffer, it continues to cause discord, we see that there's another option. And that option opens up, and it's always about letting go. It's always about owning it. It's always about just letting it go. It's a story. Yes, everything is a story. Believe me, everything. If you have heard it, it is a conditioning. That's why we are letting go of those conditionings. If it's something that you were taught, even if your parents taught it to you, especially if your parents taught it to you, okay? Because we are karmically aligned into our family. So you just have to let go of all the things that you were taught and leave space for the things that are to appear in this new understanding. And you'll see that it's about letting go of the old in order to invite the new. You can't invite new if you have no space because you're holding on to old. So it really lines up like that. But yes, past lives, 11, 22 equals 33. This is called the triangle of enlightenment. It's already out there, the triangle of enlightenment. And you'll see that most of my teachings is going to be piecing together little bits and pieces of things and how they all connect. Because ultimately, what it's truly all about is by the time that you reach that crown, you reach that 144,000 hertz frequency, the Christ consciousness, where it's unconditional love. And you no longer are projecting, you're no longer seeing anything in that mirror reflecting that is triggering you. Because every single trigger is identified. It's identified by first identifying your root trigger, your deep-rooted trigger, which is what I go over in my blueprint, which is stemming from past lives. How that helps to balance everything by identifying the root, the mothership, that takes down the shield of the mothership of the UFO. Now you can go look at all the other triggers that have manifested, all the other UFOs. Their shield is down because once you identify, oh, it's really just this one thing. And it keeps stemming up in multiple scenarios, multiple manifestations. And then you just identify, it's just the same exact thing. And it's trying to catch your attention. Yes, this is your guides. This is God. Once you put it in your mind, playing both sides, does it catch your attention? Is it triggering you? It triggers you. Okay, check. Back on a loop it goes. And you do it all over again. Is it triggering you? Check. Back on a loop it goes. Then finally, it just wakes, like insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same exact thing and expecting different results. So can we see where it triggers you? Check. Back on a loop. Here we are. Cycles. Samsara. We are on a cycle until we identify that we have cycles. When we identify it, we have the awareness, we can change it. We invoke our spiritual will to have the understanding, to have that guidance, to have the moment by moment line up and to see where everything is being placed out for you, for your highest potential in this incarnation. And so I have multiple methods that I will bring out on how to do the sped up version, but understand it is a straight up narrow path. It is. I'm not going to sit there and act like it's not, but understand that we are being guided and we have all the support that we need to make it through. I didn't have any of this besides my ascended masters, and now we have the documentation. Now we have an understanding that leads into the teaching of what we're doing and how we shift into that fifth level consciousness in this incarnation. It's by incorporating our past lives, by integrating our past lives. That is the triangle of enlightenment. The 11, the 22, the 33. The 33 is where I'm at right now. The 33 is what you offer back to the collective consciousness. So every single thing that you were striving for when you were on the lower levels and living in shame, living in fear, living in striving, living in, I need to be famous, I want to do this, I want to offer this back into the world, I need to help everyone, I need to do this. All of that is really just a soul pulling you to that fifth level so that you reach that soul frequency, which is the 144,000. And you can listen to frequencies, but it's not until you truly hit it internal that all of the alchemy happens to the point where you do hit that Christ consciousness and you offer back something so absolutely unique to your soul, to your karma, and you offer it back to the collective. And you'll see that everything else that we're doing on earth is just running in circles on a hamster wheel, getting stuck in illusions, getting stuck in attractions, getting stuck in bright shiny lights, getting stuck in what's new, getting stuck in having everything at the tap of a finger. So, if you're done sightseeing, and this is over multiple lifetimes, you can take the straight up incline. That is what I'm offering. That is the sped up version. That is what I did 5 years prior to the shift as preparation, not knowing, absolutely not knowing that that's what's happening, but that's exactly what I did. I went straight up the mountain via radical non-duality, done sightseeing, done going around, done making this whole loop. Now we have the option, and it opens up within understanding where past lives play a huge role in the way that we see the world and the way that we are affected and the things that reflect and everything that just reflects. And understand, I want to reconfirm that there are 3 different levels of awareness at the moment, and it might expand, so that's why I say at the moment. Always leave space. But at first, you are just having the experience. When we're in that 3rd level consciousness, lower 4th level, sometimes we're just having that experience. We need to have that trigger. We need to just be put in it, and then it's like, oh, that sucked. What the fuck? Why did that happen? And we go into guilt and shame, and we go into blame, and we do that whole process. But then, as we start to really develop that understanding of the cycle, we get into that stage, the 2nd stage of awareness, which is being able to observe and witness the formation of a trigger coming up. How do you witness a formation of a trigger coming up? It is that story that is playing in your mind where you already are excuse me, pre-planning how you want to answer to a question that is not even being asked yet, but it was asked in the past. So you see that we are projecting stuff of the past and putting it right into that moment where we feel that trigger. And it's not even anything that the person has said yet we already anticipated it's going to come. And it's a lot of those same repeat loops. And it's a little bit of our higher self pointing out, hey, do you see that cycle? Like, you already identify it's coming because it's happened multiple times until we get hit in the face and we're like, okay, how do I change it? Yes, how do you change it? Understanding everything is a mirror. That is the freedom to give up judgments and opinions. That is part of the path. You have to give up your judgments and opinions because you will see that anything that you are judging within another or you have an opinion within another is a part of yourself of when you were hanging on that collective tree and you went through that phase and stage and you just don't remember it. So you truly cannot become whole, W-H-O-L-E, which is holy, H-O-L-Y, until you integrate every single thing and you no longer are being triggered by anything in the world because you see it to be perfect. It is. It is the perfect creation. It is the perfect balance. It is exactly what it needs to be. It is a simulation in order for us to heal and purify. There's no need for judgment on it. It is happening because we have judgment. It is happening to purify us of those judgments, to see that everything is a mirror, and what we're judging in another is a part of ourselves that we're not accepting. We can't become holy. That's the whole point. Why are we doing this? This is for us to truly learn the difference between good and evil. Again, with the three, good and evil. The third opens that option for you to actually distinguish the difference. You've lived a good. You lived an evil, right? Now you're at the tip, and you can distinguish the difference between good and evil. That's what the Creator wants you to do. It's not about reading the Bible and memorizing 10 commandments and every single thing, thou shalt not, and you don't. That is just being obedient. It's not what we're supposed to do, but yet we're supposed to learn from our experience like Jesus Christ taught. And we learn this through multiple lifetimes. Jesus has past lives. Yes, he does. Noah has past lives. Buddha has past lives. I will be bringing that out. This is all part of the new earth teaching that will come out, that will be part of what surfaces in order to bring us into that fifth level consciousness. It is about integrating whatever we are seeing that is portraying anything in the world that we don't agree with is your light shining on where you need to heal, where you need to look at and need to turn the mirror around and see what it's trying to reflect. And it is a process. There is no rushing it, yet there is intention of knowing that you have the potential. No one knows what potential we've had. The map of consciousness, a lot of people think they've already hit enlightenment. Radical honesty, guys. There is only 2 to 3. And I say 2, 3 because at first it was 2, myself and my partner, because we are the first to awaken, because we are the first to do this sped up version. And that's why we are in the state and why we have to be enlightened, because I can't come back and tell you all this stuff without being triggered, without reliving my own past trauma, like all of this. To understand sped up version of purification is to know that you're going to go through like at least 3. Let's just stick with the number 3. It's about 3 or 4 though, from what I've overheard. And this is where my partner comes in a little bit more with that information. But at least 3 lifetimes worth of trauma. And it will come in this one incarnation. I am living proof right here. It will not break you down, but yet it will set you free. You will be broken down many times throughout the process, yes. And that is the process. You need to break down to the point of seeing that we have claimed separation. All the way from the original sin that is labeled in the Bible, the original sin, claiming separation from our Creator. It is the process. We were supposed to do that. There is nothing to be shameful for, but we do need to understand that we have created our own suffering because it is the ego structure that has claimed everything, that has created the suffering from going through the levels on the map of consciousness. And as we let go, I will post the map of consciousness just so we can get familiar, because this is a huge part of my teaching to really help connect. As Dr. Hawkins is one of the Ascended Masters, but just knowing that it is going up. And all these lower, where it says force, this requires force. It's not until you hit that halfway point right there, which is letting go of pride. You will start seeing that every single level has some secret hidden payoff. What do I mean by that? Let's take into account someone that we know that is always having issues, and it just seems like drama follows them around. That is the payoff that they are receiving by staying in that level. And it is a secret payoff because emotions are very much like drugs. When we have a surge and you need that fix, it's like you manifest that drama just to get that fix, because a lot of that is an addiction. And you'll see that we get very addicted to emotional states when we can't control them. Those are the people that can't control their anger, and then that's stemming from something else. And it's always stemming from something of the past life. It is truly always stemming, and I will go even deeper into that, but right now we're just touching base on understanding that right now, this is the only time in history that we've ever had the chance of doing a sped up version. We're being pushed into it. That is what that 3D pushed into the 5D collective consciousness shift is to have that option now. For the ones that are in their third lifetime and they are on that tree and they are there ripening and they have gone through all their obstacles and they have identified, they have cycles and they're starting to own their stuff. I was not owning my stuff when I first got here. Understand, it is a process. Just allow space, allow space. I only saw the mirror reflecting. It triggered me for 2 years, my twin flame. Twin flames are the ultimate mirror. You want to talk about a mirror? That's the thing that will trigger you right into either going insane or enlightenment. Insane if you sit there and you try to think about it and you try to make sense of it and you wait for the next person and you wait for things to be fair and stuff like that. I bypassed all that when I realized Ram Dass came to me and he said, give up being right or wrong. Give up being right or wrong. Even when you're absolutely right, just give it up. Oh, wow, Ram Dass. Okay, give that up, huh? So the next time that situation, that scenario played out for me, where I wanted to say the last word in that argument. If I say the last word, am I trying to be right? Yes, I am. By not saying that last word, that was me giving the intention, okay, I'm going to give up being right or wrong. I'm going to give this a try. And I just continued to give it a try. Each time it surfaced, and each time it got a little easier. Each time I started to see it a little deeper because that intention was there. It's like, okay, I don't have to question his teachings. He's already left it out there. It's here in the world. That is his sole purpose. That was what he was supposed to leave into the world. And you'll see that everything that I'm starting to connect, even this triangle of enlightenment, whoever created that hit their sole purpose. That was what they were supposed to put out into the world. And then you start seeing how everything is a foundation and it's building off each other. Yes, very much like a pyramid. And that is what we are focused on. When you get into that fifth level consciousness, you are now looking at collective consciousness. It's no longer an individual I. It's already been identified. Do we see where that stems from? War, all the hate, everything. Individual I want, you have, I desire, I need. All that, when we really get into this fifth level, why we have to go through all of this shit to get into fifth level is to truly be able to hold that space, to truly be able to see the unity, the oneness, that collective oneness that is unconditional love. That is the understanding. That is the whole story of Jesus in the Bible, is to climb those chakras, the 33 vertebrae that take you up, the Kundalini rising. When you hit that 33rd, you are at the crown chakra. You are at the 144,000 hertz. But you have to go through all the chakras. It's not about listening to the frequency, but yet understanding and knowing yourself. Little poor connection. Is an overstimulated solar plexus, where it's the housing of your sexuality, but do you feel like it's overstimulated? Are you promiscuous? Do you have you put that together? So you can kind of start seeing where a lot of this stuff has an imbalance, and you just take it little at a time. And it is a play for you. You are the only player in this video game, because everyone else is a mirrored version of you. So when you understand that too, and after I connect a little bit more into that, you'll start seeing that every single little thing that you might have originally in your dualistic mind labeled as a coincidence and dismissed, now you become really aware of where we start connecting, how to connect the prompt and to go into action. Again, remembering that karma and action are of the same. Both equal number 8. Refreshing your memory, a quick rundown. We are going into World War III. World War, it equals number 15. 6. 6 plus 3, because of 3 going outside of dualism, equals 9, indicating, yes, that is what is happening. 2024 is the time of reveals, number 9, into non-duality, number 9. Incorporating the S curve in the yin yang. This is the new upgraded yin yang, to know that the S curve is there. It's always been outside of dualism. The S curve is God, the cause. Anything that you are seeing in the world, God is the cause. Anything that you are judging is only a reflection of your past life and your karma. Just understand that. It doesn't have to make sense, but if you allow that space, that's the first of dissolving of the ego, of that separate I. Seeing that 666, how we've labeled it as the number of the beast, but also it is the it's basically man, and I'll connect even more. This is just like, again, 1% of how all this connects. But if we can't even understand that the 666 and the 999, and that 999 is God, even though it connects to N, you can see it in the word spirit. It is connected right there. It has the 3 nines and the word spirit. Everything is written in a code. The Bible is written in a code. It is written in the way that you read it based off of where you are on that map of consciousness. Because what really needs to be pointed out on the map of consciousness is that huge one right there, God view. Your God view changes as you let go and you surrender the payoffs, going up the scale, letting go of pride. Whatever the payoff was, whatever made you see God view as indifferent, whatever made you see the life view as demanding. See where it's all about owning everything? Own it. Own it. Honestly, own it and see where it takes you. Or don't own it and then find out how many more cycles you have and how much more stress and suffering we can do. It's quite possible. I mean, we will continue to go around and around. That's what we've been doing for centuries. Now you have the option of speeding it up by understanding everything is being asked for you to own it. We have the understanding now. This is the teaching. To go outside of pride is literally to put you into the realm of courage. That's when you are now power. This is when you are starting to actually counterbalance the lower parts, because this is a balancing system. This is the yin yang as well. It's keeping everything out of balance. And when I said that everyone that thinks that they're enlightened, I said there's only 3, sticking with the number 3 because of where we are right now outside of dualism. But it only takes one enlightened being to elevate such a huge number. It's like 50,000 or something. And I will post where that's mentioned. But understand that that is how the universe is actually functioning. And it's within being able to bring that information to help shift how we need to shift. Understanding that what we're going into is a spiritual war, and it's outside of dualism. That's why it's World War III. I'll go more into it, but that was the reveal that I wanted to share. As more people are joining the forum that I created that is designated for the channeled teachings and information, and it will have a lot more reveals on it. But this was something that was stemming up, and I heard a very strong demand to understand how can we look at the world and say it's perfect. And there's so much that we can judge. There's so many things of history that we can look at. But it's truly everyone's internal journey. And you just have to let go of those stories. And you have to see that Earth is here. And it's playing its role. And it's playing its program. In order for us to get out all of the shit we have to get out of our systems. In order for us to own all the shit that we have from our past lives. And it's all being reflected. So anything that's bothering you, anything that's triggering you, anything, make a note. Be very gentle on yourself, but make a note. Just write it and then move on. This bothered me today. And you'll come back to it and you'll realize that you have a cycle on that. And it doesn't matter, because even though it's portraying on one person, because in that moment when you're in that experience and you're in it and that trigger is stemming up and your heart's beating faster and you're like ready to like fight or flight, you know what you want to say. You have your comeback in your mind already. You've already created it. You just breathe in and realize it's just a lesson that wants to be taught. It just wants you to integrate it, and you just have to allow what you're seeing outside of what is triggering you, because that same scenario is going to appear again with a different person. So as mad as you were at that one person at that time, when you're in that trigger and you're in that experience and it's portraying right at that person, you'll see that same scenario appears yet again. And as convinced as you were that it was that one person, how can it appear again in your life, not that person's life, but with a different person? Because that's how we work. This is the cycles that we have. And if we don't address it in this scenario, the universe will create another scenario for you, and another scenario, and another scenario. And then you see how many cycles we truly have. So it's truly just about becoming aware, knowing that we are being asked to own everything, even if we don't know how to do it. Keep the space and know that there is nothing wrong, there is nothing being done to us, yet we are all being taught every individual lesson that we need for our karma. And it's hard to look at other people and see it. And it's hard to look at them and not judge it. But know that we're all on that collective tree, all pieces of fruit. And we've been ripening over multiple lifetimes. And you just don't know how long one person's been ripening or not. So any judgment, anything, going back into Christ consciousness, going back into clearing that mirror, if you have that judgment, if you have that opinion, you are only judging a part of yourself. And you can't ascend until you're whole. W-H-O-L-E. That's the whole point. We're becoming whole. We're integrating our light, our dark, our masculine, our feminine. We're integrating all of it and knowing that that number 9 in the S curve of the yin yang is God, and he's governing both sides. He is playing both sides. He is your angel and your demon. And you have to understand that we are learning the difference between good and evil through this process by realizing that everybody is on that tree. There is no evil. It is only experiences and events happening and a mind that judges them. Good for right now, and I will put a picture of the drawing along with this, but I really wanted to touch base just so you understand what it is that I'm introducing, what this via radical non-duality is. It is the option of truly climbing the mountain, climbing straight up, going into that triangle of enlightenment. We are not taking that scenic route. No, we're not. We're not posting memes. We're not trying to learn through copy and pasting other people's teachings. That's only validation, guys. I am out there looking and seeing it in the forums. It's only a way of actually validating something and making us think that we're doing some spiritual work, but we're not. You have to turn off your screen. You have to close your eyes, and you have to open the third. And I will go more into that too. But this is the triangle of enlightenment. And it is possible after 3 lifetimes, and you are hearing it for the first ever in this whole universe, that we are able to now do a sped up version. We do not have to meditate in caves for 20 years. We can take the straight up incline. This is New Earth.